Peace, 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 everybody. Set free here on the NBPA Live. Another episode of Art is Everything. And today we're going to have Malcolm Brogdon on here. So I'm super excited about that. Point guard slash shooting guard for the Indiana Pacers. And we're going to talk about, basically how the art culture connects with athletes and everything. So, young Deucey, what up? This was LeBron James. People are classic. Hopefully everybody's safe out there during this COVID time. Everybody and their families are okay right now. And we're just waiting for Malcolm to get in here, and we're going to start the conversation talking about art and how it connects with sports and athletes. His love for art, how art is connected to the game, how you see art on the court, off the court, and just going through the art world with athletes. I've been blessed to be able to be, chosen to do these art talks with NBPA. It's been a great experience. The first one we did was really good with Kyrie, with his world of tattoos and just his art. So this is part two. So let's check. Malcolm's is in here. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's get Malcolm back in here. Malcolm,
What's going on?
1 second. Just turned it around trying to accept your peace, man. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see you. I appreciate you having me on.
Totally, man. Shouts out to the NBA for NBPA for putting this together. I'm
For
super
sure.
excited, man. So let's start off about how you doing, man, and during this COVID time, man. How you, your family, and all your loved ones doing?
Good, man. I'm down here in Atlanta.
Okay.
We've opened up earlier than everybody else. Georgia, Florida, a few of the southern states. There are a lot of people out about, acting like it's, regular times. But me and my family, we've been staying safe, staying quarantined, trying to be careful.
Okay. No, that's good. Good to hear you and all your loved ones is doing fine, man. So let's give a shout out to the first responders, man. Like just all over the world. I think what they're doing is incredible. They're the real life superheroes right now. How is the hospitals and everything in Atlanta doing under like all the healthcare workers?
Man, I think they're still working hard. I think stuff has died down.
Okay.
I think our rates in terms of, the occupied beds in the hospitals, that's really gone down. But a lot of people are talking about a second wave. So I definitely keep those people in my prayers. A lot of people glorify NBA players, professional athletes, celebrities, but those people are putting their lives on the line every single day. And they have families, they have kids at home. So, a huge shout out, and I'm praying that those people remain safe.
Totally, totally. Well, congratulations to you, man, for being on the executive committee of the NBPA. I think you're a perfect fit, man. You're always just from what you do in the charity work and what you're doing in Africa, being able to help the league and all the players. I think that's just a great move for you. So it's been like 71 days now without ball, man. How has that been for you, man? What's like? How are you feeling about the league not being able to play right now and trying to work towards getting it back?
It's crazy, man. So, this is something that's never happened before. During the off season, you go about 3, 4 months where you're, not playing games at least. But during this period, it's hard to get in the gym. It's hard to work out. It's hard
Mm,
to really stay in a routine. So, figuring that out, being creative where you can, trying to find some consistency in your routine when your resources are limited.
mm.
It's been tough, but if you're a diligent person and you work at your craft, like most NBA players are, I think you figure it out, and we're going to be prepared when the game returns.
Nah, good to hear, man. Good to hear. So well, let's get into it, man. Art is everything. I've been blessed to know you for a little while. Know that starting your art collection and been collecting art. When did that start for you though? Like when did you take notice to art and being like, you know what, I want to start getting into the art world.
Man, I've always had an interest in art, but
Mm,
you know, as your taste in art gets more refined, you know, the price goes up. So you're going to be buying
totally.
stuff more unique, stuff that's
Mm,
more cultural, stuff that's more diverse. And then once I got to the NBA, I got a little money in my pocket, and I really was
mhm.
able to dive into. It's like an experience. It's something you can
Okay.
dive into. It's something that can be like a hobby. Shopping for art. For me, I'm a guy that travels the world. I travel to Africa a lot, so I enjoy,
Mm,
you know, sort of comparing different arts from across the world.
wow. So like, it's so who's some of the artists that like through your learning experience that you've been learning about that you like? Just some artists you like, and then some artists that you want to collect or collect.
So man, you know, the one guy and more domestic, your guy BK the artist, that's his hand on Instagram, Brian.
Yeah.
I love his art.
Wow.
You know, he definitely speaks to African Americans and sort of the struggle, but also the beauty of the culture. And you know, I really appreciate his art. And then when I'm
Totally.
overseas, man, it's less about
The person.
you know, specifying which artists I like more so than just being open minded to any artist. You know, there's like a center where you can go and there are paintings from all over Africa, all over, and you know there's thousands and thousands of them in this gallery, and it's all different types of artists all over the continent, and you know you pick what you like, and you'll see some patterns of artists. You know, I've been there a few times. I see patterns of, you know, I like the same paintings over and over, but every once in a while, man, you'll come across some beautiful stuff, and it's a different artist from a different part of the continent.
So let me ask you this, because I got a chance and I was blessed to go to like Cape Town, and I got a chance to go to Johannesburg. And to your point, it was like I was seeing artists and never knew the name. Nobody could tell me the name. It was just art everywhere. What mediums did you see in Africa? Because, I got like a statue that was made out of, I forgot, it's like the hardest wood substance. It's like ironwood, they call it. But so
Hmm.
are you like seeing art, just paintings? Are you seeing sculptures? Are you seeing
Oh man,
carvings?
you're seeing all types of stuff: sculptures, paintings, literally carvings. Like anything you want, you can find in this gallery. You can find in these markets that they have in the cities in Africa. It's just, man, it's a beautiful culture. It's so different than what we have in the West. The art, the culture, everything about it. But you know, I found that, you know, a lot of what people go through, their struggle, their culture, their food, everything they experience every day, they put into their art. So, you know, art has been for me, it's a reflection of where it came from, you know, who drew it or who created that piece.
Now, did you get to purchase any art over there and get it shipped back to America for you?
I did. I did. I have a few pieces. I have a piece now. I got it in Tanzania, but I believe it was an artist from Mozambique that did the piece.
Okay.
And it's actually on my wall over here. I love the piece. You know, it's one of these pieces you want people to see as soon as they walk into your house. So it's up against
Mm,
the wall as soon as you can't miss it.
wow. Now that's incredible. There's a couple of artists over there I introduced you. There's a great guy named Kadir. He was on the cover of Time magazine, but he's actually an African artist. That work is doing incredible right now. So
For sure.
let's go back a little bit. I always like it's like an art journey. So we all growing up we love cartoons. So and to me cartoons start that's where art starts. We just see it as a TV show. But what was some of the like art in a cartoon form that you liked when you was growing up?
Ooh, I was actually on TV the other day. The cartoon, The Last Airbender, was
Wow.
on. That was one of the classics when I was younger. Dragon Ball Z was another one. It was ahead of its time.
Still
Um,
is, I think.
it still is. It still is.
Totally.
Go back and you realize, man, this is still a great show. It's a children's show, but it's still great.
Yep.
But those were two of my favorites for sure.
Two of your favorites. And so then, I like it like how art it goes to like cartoon, but then it went to toys. So you take the journey of like a Mickey Mouse. You take the journey of like I seen G.I. Joe on TV before I like seen the toys. So what was some of like the sculptures of toys that you collected, but that really like they descended from art?
Man, I loved action figures. I remember I used to watch the Gargoyles. So any Gargoyles toys, I would collect those. I used to watch the movie Spawn. Maybe a lot of people don't know about that,
Yeah,
but he was like
totally.
one of the few black superheroes. I used to
Yep.
watch that. Man, Spawn came out as an action figure. I had one of those. Um, those are a few of my favorites for sure that I always remember.
It's just funny, man. I think Spawn was because it was like the year of Marvel and DC was like the big guys, but then Image Comics came out of nowhere, and
Yeah,
I was like, yo, who is this company? And then I always felt like Spawn's supposed to have been a Marvel character, and I
right.
was like, yeah,
Because he was dope. He was dope.
now
He should have
he
been.
was ill, and then they started bringing out his action figure was like the first bigger. It was like way bigger than the average action
Yeah,
figure. Yeah, I think
yeah,
somebody stole my Spawn.
yeah.
So I got a saying that, and like that what we looking like art is everything. So, it starts, I'll talk about like even the logos on teams and, like the mascots, how everything was drawn first. So like growing up, man, what was some of like your favorite sports team logos? Like from you think about it from like an artistic standpoint, like the Bulls logo just is a
For sure.
iconic art logo.
That's iconic. That's classic. For me, man, I used to always watch Vince Carter with the Raptors. You see the old school purple jersey
Jersey,
Raptors. Yeah, when they had the old Raptor on there, that was
totally.
like, man, cream of the crop for me. I always recognized that when I'd see a bunch of jerseys or see a team on TV, I'd always recognize when the Raptors were playing because of their jerseys and their logos and sort of the creation of it.
I think for me, man, the Denver Nuggets jersey, it was like kind of with the colors. I think it was like
Yeah,
Alex English was wearing it back then. Like that was
yeah.
one of my favorite jerseys. So what about up to date like logos? Any like teams like because you got like that you be like, yo, that's just like great art.
Um, Great art. Okay, so the
And it don't
Nets
have to
have
be
a
basketball too. It's just art
yeah,
in
no,
general.
but Batman basketball seems to be like progressive and ahead of the curve. So I would say the
Totally.
Brooklyn Nets have a jersey, the Bed-Stuy jersey,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
like that.
colorful. It's colorful. It still has a black dark tint to it, but it's
Mm.
colorful. It's clearly something that the marketing team or whoever did that, they put a lot of work into that, making it not too colorful, not too bright, but still it's cool. It represents the city well.
Yeah, no, I think, and especially when like the Nets, they always go on like future forward, like with the Biggie Coogee jersey, and
Yeah,
then they had actually a graffiti artist this in this year's season. It was an artist I think Hayes actually did
yep,
the text on the jersey. So shouts
yeah,
out to
yeah,
the Nets, always pushing the art on the jerseys.
for sure, for sure.
So let's talk about the art of the game, man. Like just basketball and art, because I even, looking at growing up watching players, who did you look at as a player? Like, yo, they was playing basketball, but the way they played, it looked like an art form to you.
Man, it was Allen Iverson. I used to watch the way he moved, and I didn't. This was when I was in, middle school, elementary school. But I'd watch the way he moved on the court, being the smallest guy. But there was a gracefulness and a ease to which he did everything on the court, and that's art to me. And now you go back
Totally.
and you watch The Last Dance, you watch Michael Jordan. Everybody's talking about it, but you watch it and you really appreciate how easy the game looked for him, how easy he was able to get past people, how he was able to elevate and finish and move his body in the air. Like all that stuff, it gives you a whole new, level of respect for him, but also just the art of it and the beauty of it.
Yeah, no, it's AI definitely. It was so many aspects. It was like dance. Like I always looked at the bouncing of the ball is almost a rhythm to like a drum. So it's a part of like dancing and a whole art form in it. And AI is totally one of those people. So
Right.
you made a transition from like shooting guard to point guard, and I found out you like studied Isaiah Thomas. While you was like from your transition from the Bucks to the Pacers. Even Isaiah's game was an art form to me. Being that small, the way he rocked, it was like seeing a whole nother level of like that guard changing from going from the Isaiah to the AI world.
For sure. I think the game has, evolved a little bit, and it's an art. It's an art of being a more physical, sort of pounding game versus a more finesse. You go from Isaiah Thomas to Kyrie Irving. They're two totally
Yeah,
different players. They're both
player,
very impactful and efficient, but it's two different styles of basketball, and they reflect sort of their era. And there's an art at which they both play. Isaiah
totally.
was more. He more was just like efficient, would do the move, would get past you, efficient with a shot. Kyrie is the way he plays. It's a pretty game. He's gonna give you some oohs, some ahs. He's gonna make the defender look bad, and then he's gonna get to his shot. So I mean,
Yeah,
there's an appreciation for both.
So another thing, man, that's like really like great about you. You won a award. You won the Defensive Player of the Year, and then you won like the offensive like situation at the same time. Do you consider like it's like an art to defense also? Like you got people like Rudy Gobert who won it. I think he won it twice, two years back to back. So do you look at like a defense as an art? Because like you said, back the offensive side, you get to see the dribbles, you get to see the passes, like how Magic used to pass. But when you think of defense, do you consider it could be an artistic way of playing defense also?
Absolutely, man. You look at guys like Scottie Pippen, guys like Kawhi Leonard. That
Mm,
there's a focus and a special timing they have about being able to pick the
mm,
ball from you, being able to block the shot. Just the timing they play the game at on the defensive end. It's honestly beautiful. For me, it's beautiful to watch. I love defense. I love when
wow.
guys really apply themselves on that end of the ball. So it's something I appreciate.
Nah, totally, man. It was a clip of like Zion. I think when he was in Duke and he blocked the shot, and it was like, to your point, it is like a time. It's like a timing thing, like almost like painting. It's like accuracy and making sure that you jump in at the right, or even strips. Some of the strips are the illest to see somebody get raked and how
Yeah,
they like some of the strips be like, yo, did he really precisionally time that? So,
right.
but let's go back to some of the art that you're collecting and stuff. Is there any other people out there that you're seeing like in the market that's doing things that you like? You know what? That might be like the next part of my collection.
Uh, Man, so right now I've gone through the phase of uh, collecting art that like portraits. So you see
Okay.
faces, you see people, and I'm honestly moving a little bit away from that and more abstract art,
Mm,
stuff that you can read into, stuff that's more open to many interpretations.
okay.
So that's sort of the mode I'm moving into. I feel like I'm becoming a little bit more refined. It's a really slow process,
Mm.
but as I do more research and as I research people like Picasso and all these other great artists from all around the world, your palette changes a little bit.
Okay. So more like abstract art than because I mean art is supposed to speak to you, and all art is about the eye of the beholder. So I think everybody looks at, and it's great. One thing I love about abstract art, it speaks to everybody in a different way. You like when you look at like a painting of like of an image or a person, it's the same thing. But like when you look at abstract and lines and colors, a lot of people can get a lot of different definitions out of it. I'll
For
definitely
sure.
make sure I turn you on to some great abstract artists out there.
I
So
need,
one thing for me, a lot of people ask me about the seven, and I always represent, like when people ask me my favorite artist, I tell them it's God. He created the world in 7 days, and you recently changed your number to seven. What was the change in with you coming with the number seven?
Man, that for me, there wasn't the
It wasn't.
significance of what you just said, but it was
Yeah.
seven has always been one of my favorite numbers. It was either going to
Wow.
be I was going to keep it at 13 or I was going to go to seven.
Wow.
And I'm a guy that every time I sort of take I transition in life. So
Yep.
I came into college I was wearing 22. I got injured at the beginning, and that sort of transformed me and reshaped my mind and my perspective. I went
Mhm.
to number 15 for the rest of college. Then when I
Okay.
jumped to the NBA, I went to number 13.
Same.
So I wore that number for the first 3 years of my career, and now I'm entering a new phase with the Pacers. So I wanted to refresh my mind and have
Yep.
a new perspective. So I switched to seven.
I think you're gonna end up at one, man. You're gonna be number one
Right.
after because it's been it's like a rise. It's like a rise in your career, but the numbers keep going down, man.
Right. Right. Right.
So couple more questions, and we can tie it up. Well, the sneaker world is really big in art, man. From the designs, basically one of the things like the NBA. I give all the credit to players. They were like the first athletes writing on sneakers with messages. Um, what sneakers is like growing up for you, and even now is like art when you really look at like the sneakers you wore growing up. That was like, yo, I had to have these because of the look.
Man, you look at, and this is a cliche answer, but you look at the Jordans. Once you go back through and you look at all the numbers, for me, the most important numbers are 1 through 14. After you get past 14, I lose track a little bit.
It's
But
over.
you look at the Space Jams, and you look at all these different colors and the ones that are coming out now. There's an art to it, and they have a total market. They've dominated the market, and they'll continue to because these shoes are
So
classic. These shoes are never going to be top. Nothing will ever be better than the Jordans.
yeah, no, that is true. What numbers was your favorite? Because see, for me, And I agree. The shapes, the styles. I mean, the cement pattern. You know, we to take an elephant pattern and put it in like a cement on the threes. I just was like, you know, to break down the shoe and look at the art that's really put in it. But what was some of your favorite Jordans like then growing up with the art? When you look
Man,
at the art that was put in it.
Man, I love the Black Cat fours. They were all black. Man, they were dope. They look now I look at them, they look more like boots and they're heavy and they don't fit my feet right. But now, you know, I love the threes and the fours. Those are like my favorites. They look good with jeans, they look good with shorts, like you can wear them anytime. But now I wear the ones. The ones are like simple, they're classy, they're just like, you know, it's way more my style now. So I keep it simple.
Yeah, well, the color patterns on the ones is I keep thinking like, how can they come out with like when like Travis Scott came with the brown and the flip
Right,
swoosh and the pink laces? I was like, you can never get tired of it. So then let's
right.
go on court. What on court sneakers you really like up to date? That's you look at it in artistic form. Of course,
Uh,
comfort first, we know, but you still want to be like it's still the style y'all have.
For sure. You know, I really like Giannis's shoes. And, you know, he's my teammate, yada, yada. But you know, man, honestly, you look at those shoes. I remember I was in the gym. This is my last year in Milwaukee. I was in the gym. Maybe I just got working out, and Giannis was walking on the court. But he had one of the prototypes of his shoe. It was an all-black one. And he came up, he showed it to me, he said, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Man, it's okay. Like, why does it look like this? It looks pretty simple." And then he was like, "No, no, no, check it out." And he turned the shoe over, and if you go in the lining of the shoe on the sole, you can see, you know, his parents' name, his brother's name, his number, you know, his girlfriend's name. He has all this stuff, and it's
Wow.
very intricate if you look at it. So you know, Nike, I think did an amazing job with it. Just the intricacies of it, and it's a complex shoe, and I enjoy wearing it because it's comfortable, but you know, it has some meaning behind it.
Was it a PE? Because that's one thing with y'all, man. It's not fair to us out here. I see some of the illest art, some of the illest colorways. I'm like, yo, when is it coming? And then it's like, nah, it's just. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's just his. Yeah, nah. So
what?
if you go get a pair of Giannis's shoes and go look
Uh-huh.
on the bottom, even if you're just in the store, go look on the bottom of them, and if you see, there's all in the little creases and lines. There's writing and all different, you know, words in there.
So it's not a PE.
It's not a P. It's not a P.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to it, man.
No, no,
I
no.
li-
Check it out.
I literally went in the stores before and swore like a shoe was coming out or called the insiders and they like, no, we don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, y'all,
Yeah,
it was on Sports Center all night. What are you talking about, man?
right, right.
To end it up, man, we like a lot of I'll just go through a lot of different subjects, but cars, man. What is one of your like when you look at cars as art, like what is one of your favorite designs of cars or even a car that you have or acquire to get?
So, you know, the car that I have and my favorite car right now is the AMG Benz, the S63. It's
Mm.
like, and mine is all black. So all the cars I have, I don't have many, but they're all black. I just think black, the color on the car is beautiful. So everything is black, tinted windows, all that. But the design of the car, it's a big body car, but there's something
Mhm.
about it that's still sporty, that's still smooth. Um, and you know, the way it drives, it's just everything about the making of a car is art to me. And I
Yeah.
enjoy the details in it. When you get in the car, everything, the luxury versus the sport, you know, it's interesting.
So you go past the look of the car and then really go to the interior, the engine, and so you're like really
Sure.
into the whole art of the car.
For sure. For sure. Especially if I'm going to invest in it. If I'm going to invest in it, I got to know the ins and outs of it.
So what's okay from an artistic point that you're not investing, but like for me the Lamborghini design is just incredible. Like what's one that you like just the design, the art aspect of a car?
Uh, uh, Honestly, man, I used to love the original Hummers, the
Yeah.
military Hummers. I actually
Yep.
saw one driving down the street, and it looks old nowadays, but I think that car is dope. It's huge. It's loud. It's you know it's a bigger car than what you'll ever see on the road anymore.
Mhm.
But I think
Yep.
that's art, man. I think that's a one of a kind car. If I could have got that and still have one, I definitely have one today, man. Those cars are pretty cool.
Yo, Rasheed Wallace had one when he played in Portland. He had an all black one, and the
Yeah.
gas wasn't art though. It
Yeah,
was
now the gas is out of control.
yeah, the gas
Yeah.
on the original Hummer. It's funny, man, because I remember when they brought out the smaller Hummer. I didn't look, to your point, I didn't look at that as art. I just looked at it like, that's not that at all, man. Well, man, thank you, man. I'm glad I'm to have some fun, man, talking about art, man, your depth of art, and just, how, a lot of people, I never even heard somebody say they look at the inside and the engines and everything's of cars as art, like the whole aspect. A lot of people just look at the aspect of the design part of it. But nah, thank you, man, and thanks to the NBPA for putting this together, man. And hopefully, you stay safe. We need to see you back on the court soon, man. And hope your family and everybody stay blessed.
You too, man. Praying for your family and your people. I appreciate you.
And I'll get you some artists soon, man, and we'll catch
Sure.
up.
For sure. We'll
Take
catch up.
care, man.
All right,
Peace.
now. Appreciate it.